Hi guys, and welcome back to this week's episode of the In the Hub podcast, brought to you by Playbox Technology UK. Today, I'll be speaking to Nicolas Moulin-Fournier, Senior Vice President of New Video Services at Utilsat. Nicolas holds 20 years of experience working over a variety of industries, helping to develop and transform multinational businesses. This has led Nicolas to his current SVP role at Eutelsat, as well as being the product director behind sat.tv. Hope you enjoy this episode. Awesome. So welcome to the In the Hub podcast, Nicolas. Thanks a lot for taking the time out this morning. Just for a little bit of background before we do start, how did you get started in the broadcasting industry? How did you begin your career?
That's a funny question because actually I've got an engineering background in space telecommunication, but I started my career in nothing to do with space telecommunication. I started in strategic consulting, working for consumer goods, heavy industry, all kind of different industry except telecommunication. No, actually, I worked a little bit on for telecom operators, but not at all on satellite. So I spent mostly almost 9 years in strategic consulting. I spent a couple of years in the software industry, and then I came back to the satellite by joining Eutelsat 10 years ago. So that has been a long journey to come back to my initial career.
Yeah, and obviously that brings us up to now, and you obviously having a position at Eutelsat. And just for anyone who doesn't already know, but I'm assuming a lot of people will already know, could you just quickly introduce us to Eutelsat and what kind of services do you guys provide?
Sure. So Eutelsat is the third satellite operator in the world. We are having a revenue of 1.3 billion euros, something like this. So we are really, satellite operator means that we are leasing satellite capacity. We are in the infrastructure, but 2/3 of our revenue are done with video clients, mainly television. So either pay TV television or free-to-air television for direct-to-home reception.
Yeah, and you guys are a huge name in the industry. So obviously, Nicolas, coming back to you personally, you've had a number of exciting positions in this industry and like you said, in many different industries. Has there kind of been a highlight project for you that you've worked on, maybe specifically at Eutelsat, that you can kind of tell us today?
Absolutely. So one key project to me at Eutelsat and one key topic that caught my attention in the first years at Eutelsat was the value of the free-to-air TV channel that we are broadcasting on the satellites. And we've got key orbital positions where tens of millions of homes, so hundreds of millions of people are watching television daily on those orbital positions. Namely, I'm talking about the position that is jointly operated with Nicolass at 7 West for the mainly for the Arabic-speaking countries, but obviously also the well-known orbital position Hotbird that is covering a wide diversity of audiences in Europe. What struck me is the number of channels that are available on those orbital positions. We are talking about hundreds of TV channels that are available for free with very simple product. However, I think that the free-to-air user experience was stuck in the early 2000s, so at the beginning of digital television. And that I thought that was a pain because it was difficult for people to find their content of interest in this huge content offer. And so that's why I pushed with different steps this topic of first marketing more intelligently the content offer that we are carrying on our orbital position to the end audience, and then providing easy access to the end user to this huge content. So, and this is now embodied in a service that is called Sat TV that we launched on set-top boxes, on free-to-air set-top boxes, very cheap set-top boxes in the different orbital position, and which is now available at 7 West for the Arabic-speaking countries on Outbird, but we are also deploying in other orbital positions. We are planning to deploy it in sub-Saharan Africa, for instance.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And just going a bit further into Sat TV, and that was something I wanted to talk about with you today, Nicolas. What is the main goal of Sat TV? What is the end goal? Because I was thinking about this the other day, and it struck me that we often forget that with the rise of OTT streaming platforms and on-demand, free TV still makes up a massive, massive amount of viewing in Europe, Middle East and Africa, doesn't it? So what is that main goal for Sat TV going forwards?
Well, it is. And let me take the example of the Middle East and North African market, which is one of the key orbital position for us. In those countries, so we are serving audiences that are spreading from from Morocco to Saudi Arabia. Wide diversity of countries, of culture, of wealth, of internet penetration, etc. However, live television remains something that is in the culture of all those countries, and satellite television is the main distribution infrastructure for live television in all those countries, including Saudi Arabia, where internet is massively deployed. Okay, and in those countries, people are watching linear television and they are watching free linear television. And there is an example that is very interesting is the Ramadan period, for instance, in those countries is very important because people, they are fasting during the day, and then when they come back home, they are sitting down in family, eating, breaking the fast together, and watching television, watching dramas. They love dramas, they love movies, etc. And all the TV channels in the region are launching their new TV series during Ramadan. So it's something that is very important. It's really culturally, let's say, entrenched in the different body, in the different people. But we are talking about 700 unique TV channels that are broadcasted on this orbital position. 700 free-to-air television. It's huge. I'm talking about just movies and series. We are talking about something like 200 movies and series. So the risk is that if you don't have a guide that helps you finding what content is aired on what channel, then you are probably missing a lot of interesting content, and you finally go back to the same channels. So Sat TV has been designed to discover new content, other channels, interesting things, and we have done this in let's say in a modern manner that is very graphic oriented. So we are displaying, we are installing all the channel, we are maintaining all the channel on the orbital position. We are displaying the channel with the channel logo. Seems so basic now for us in Western countries with IPTV on the OTT services, but most of those population don't have logos. They don't, so they just have a dumb list of channels that are classified by frequencies. So it's the old FM mode of navigation through the channel with 700 TV channels. So now we are installing the channel with the logos. We are installing the channel with a fixed number in order for the broadcaster to communicate very simply to the audience by saying, "Find me in number 103," for instance. We classify the channel by genre, which means that if you want to find all the TV, all the movies and series film TV channel, you press a button and you find them. And we've got all the program information, all the channels that are sent to the set-top boxes with rich program information, including program illustration, which means that we can now display a mosaic of programs that are aired or that will be aired in the hours to come, filtered by genre. So if you want to have all the dramas programs that are aired, you've got a mosaic of all the programs that are aired now on the orbital position. and it's a huge offer. Over a week, we've got something like 3,000 drama episode, 600 movies are on the orbital position.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant stuff, Nicolas. And I just wanted to probe further into this idea of broadcasters and content providers at the moment. And it seems increasingly so that there's this important balance between getting your content and your episodes and series seen absolutely everywhere, as far as you can reach them. But also being able to kind of personalize this content and target it towards niche audiences. Are there any kind of examples? How have you seen your customers evolving and adapting their content offering in 2021?
It's not a surprise. All the broadcasters, or at least most of the broadcasters, are moving to OTT as well. They are complementing their distribution, their satellite distribution, with an OTT distribution. How they do it, it really depends on the region. So as I said, and it's illustrative of this cultural mindset. For instance, in Arabic countries, most of the channels are distributing their content live on OTT, either through their website, or they go to YouTube as well, like a lot of channels. Some are doing on-demand services, catch up or new episodes. There is, for instance, a very successful service that is launched that is operated by NBC, that is called Shahid in the region, that is very popular. And it's true that it's progressively the on-demand consumption is taking traction. However, there is a lot of countries where the bandwidth is expensive. People are buying the gigabyte, and so they are limiting their consumption to a small episode, to let's say snippets or this kind of stuff, and they prefer to watch, movies, dramas, etc., in family in front of the TV set. So it's really a complementary distribution that we are seeing. Satellite, live television on satellite being the backbone of the consumption, the family consumption, and some personalized usages being distributed over OTT.
Yeah, 100%. And I wanted to kind of talk a bit more about linear TV and live TV consumption at the moment. And from all the reports I've seen, from all of the news around that at the moment, the outlook is looking absolutely fantastic at the moment. Live event hype is at an all-time high. Advertising revenues are returning to obviously pre-pandemic levels and above. How optimistic are you for linear and live television moving forwards? Do you think it's always going to be this major thing in across the world?
What time frame are you giving me?
Let's say throughout this next decade, so 2020 to 2030. What's the outlook for you guys?
No, the outlook looks good. As I said. Well, it really depends on the region, absolutely. But in some regions, the linear television remains culturally very important, and to be honest, and especially on our orbital position where we are reaching hundreds of millions of people, satellite broadcast remains the cheapest way by a huge number of magnitude compared to any kind of other distribution. So that's a key pillar to maintain a strong linear television offer in the region. Obviously, sport is something that is quite important and that you can see only on linear television, because then the experience is ruined.
Exactly. Yeah.
But and if you want to enjoy good quality, especially in HD, then streaming in HD is something that is very complex, that will remain costly for the telecom operator as well as for the broadcaster. So I see something that is broadcast distribution as something very solid for the decade.
Yeah, I think it's untouchable, basically, to see all this hype and excitement around live sport returning, post pandemic. And like you said, there is still that kind of aspect of being able to watch a show that's airing for the first time and watching it with your family, with your friends in the same room around obviously a linear TV set. So I completely agree with you there. And Nicolass, this is a question that we ask at the end of every podcast, and we ask the guests to sum it up in one word, basically. So if you could, in one word, what do you envision for the future of the broadcasting industry?
In one word, I think it would be a progressive migration toward digital. Let's say it's a second digitalization. In one word, it's 2 words.
We'll take it.
Grant me those 2 words. What I mean is that broadcast television today is digital because it's digital television. However, in the usages, it's not as digital as everybody means. I think that SAT TV is the first step, for instance, to go digital, because by providing a lot of program information, a lot of metadata to the content that is broadcast on air, we are able to enrich and personalize the user experience of the people that are watching television. I think that we need to continue in this direction by, for instance, by getting some insight on what people are watching, which is something that is new for the broadcast. So this is a direction where broadcast will go, which is a second digitalization.
Yeah, no, I think that's a brilliant answer, Nicolass. That's great, and I think it really does signal what's to come, basically. And just to finish up then, Nicolass, how can people get in touch with you directly or Utilsat if they've got any inquiries or they want to get in touch?
Definitely. Well, if you want to know more about Eutelsat, there is a website that is called Eutelsat.com. You can find a lot of information if you are a broadcaster, if you are an industry vendor, etc. If you want to know more about SAT TV as a user experience, there is a website that is called sat.tv. You can follow us as well on Instagram and Facebook, where we are doing a lot of promotion of the channel, all the set-top box brands that are compatible with our services. And I think that then you will find all your contacts on those 2 different websites. Then you can contact us by email or by chat, etc.
Yeah, and what we'll do, Nicolass, we'll link to both of those websites in the podcast description as well. So anyone listening on Spotify, Apple Music, head to the description. You can find those links there. So once again, thank you for taking the time out this morning, Nicolass. Really do appreciate it, and it's great to hear the kind of exciting things you've got going on at Utilsat and how they'll progress in the future.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Nicolass.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.